There are good reports coming in from OPEC, and that is our oil production output have increased, regardless of the subsequent or the past stumblings that Nigeria have had when it comes to oil production. We are seeing that OPEC is recording that we are beginning to have an increase in oil output and beating other African countries such as Angola. You're welcome to Business and Finance here on Echo Television International. I am Rachel Tanze, and I am bringing you reports concerning our oil production so far, as this is good news to revenue and our economy in general. So we have OPEC bringing out reports for the month of June precisely that our oil production has gone high to 1.27 million barrels per day, precisely when it comes to oil production. Now, this shows a 1.57% increase from 1.25 million barrels recorded at the month of May. Now, due to the current production figure, OPEC said Nigeria retained its position as the biggest oil producer in Africa, surpassing Angola, which produced 906,000 barrels per day in the month of June. Now, with 2,500 and 9,000 barrels per day in June, Congo ranked third amongst the biggest oil producers in Africa, according to OPEC. According to another secondary source, total OPEC 12 crude oil production averaged 26.57 million barrels per day in June 2024, and we have this is month-on-month report. Now, crude oil output increased mainly in Libya, Venezuela, and the Iran, while production in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and the UAE decreased. Now, at the same time, total non-OPEC documentation crude oil production averaged at 14.24 million barrels per day in June 2024, and then we have 45 TB lower month-on-month crude oil output increase, mainly in Kazakhstan, and we have Azerbaijan, while production in Russia decreased. Now, these are all reports coming from OPEC, so we're seeing that there is reduction in other countries together with the UAE. We're also seeing that of Russia. We are seeing that in Kazakhstan, but then we are having Nigeria increasing, while we had recorded 1.25 million barrels per day in the month of May. For the month of June, we are seeing a significant increase of over 259,000 barrels. Now, we are seeing that as at the month of July, Melekari, that is the NNPCL Limited Director General, is saying that they have declared emergency on oil production, and we believe that this output is as a result of all the steps and the procedures that have been taken by the NNPCL Limited to see that we have a better oil production, and of course that we are seeing better revenues generated, looking at the fact that in the past what OPEC have designed to make sure that there is an increase in the price per barrel, which is cutting quotas for member countries, have yielded to the crude oil per barrel price going high. And with that, if Nigeria is able to keep increasing or maintaining a high barrel per day in production, then we are eventually going to see that there is an increase in revenue. That is, the fight for oil bunkering and then oil theft has increased massively for us to be able to see this increase when it comes to our oil production. Now, it's not only crude oil production that is struggling in the country. We are also seeing that Naira remains low despite our reserves increasing. Now, we're seeing that regardless of what the Central Bank of Nigeria is doing, where we are having more inflow and where we are having our reserves being stable and increasing way better than in previous years, and even for the first time in the Bola Tinubu's administration, we are seeing that no matter the measures that the Central Bank of Nigeria have taken under the leadership of Governor Cardoso, we are seeing that we are having our currency depreciated, losing value, and still at low as against the dollar. Now we are seeing that despite an injection of over $122.67 million into the market, the Naira has experienced a significant depreciation. Now we are seeing our reserves, which we have taken that here, has increased to over $35.18 billion. We are still seeing that have not affected the value of the Naira as against the dollar. Now we are seeing that the market is closing at 1,560 Nairas against the dollar. That is for the month of July. That we're looking at the weeks past, still in the month of July. Now this depreciation follows a slight appreciation the previous day and comes despite the CBN sales of $122.67 million to authorized dealer over 2 days. Now, throughout the weeks, we are seeing that the foreign exchange turnover fluctuated, peaking at $348.82 million on Thursday, but sharply declining by 67.73% to $126.50 million. That is the market closing as at the end of last week, on Friday precisely. Now, the market saw a range of over 1,496 Naira to 1,586 per dollar, edging closer to 1,600 Naira mark. That is the value of the Naira as against the dollar. Now, similarly, data from the CBN revealed that Nigeria's gross reserves rose to $35.18 billion of July, representing a growth of 6.35% from the 33.08 billion gross reserve balance as at the previous week. We're looking at the ending of last week for the month of July 2024. Now, this is the first time we are having our reserves cross the $35 billion mark under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Now, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria, as at May 2023, the reserves were at $35.09 billion. Now, about 14 days before the introduction of the FX unification policy in June 2023. So yes, we are seeing a massive increase compared to what we've had the previous year. So far, for the year 2024, our reserve seems to be strong. However, the strength of the reserve is not affecting the value of the currency, and I hope that the Central Bank of Nigeria have not pulled out all the strings yet. That is, there are certain measures, hopefully, that they will take to see that we do not have the Naira against the dollar reaching above the mark of 1,600 as the market was closing for the ending of the week for July. We are seeing that it has gone up to the mark of 1,600 despite the reserves gaining, and then the pumping in of over $127 million into the reserves. Hopefully, the Central Bank of Nigeria have one more or two more tricks up its sleeve to do something concerning the value of the Nigerian currency. Now, we are seeing that the Nigeria's equity market is dropping. Yes, despite amidst a persistent bearish trend, we are seeing that yes, the equity market is dropping, and we are looking at 114 billion Naira drop. This is a significant reduction in investors' wealth. It's not a good thing for our investors. Looking well that our currency now is determined by the exporters and the importers, basically investors. If there's this drop in the equity market, then it means bad business. Perhaps while we are seeing our currency where it is now. Nonetheless, we are seeing that the market capitalization fell by 0.20%, closing at 56.46 trillion naira, while the all share index ended at 99,805.95 points. Now, the market has already seen a loss of 8.62 billion naira, driven by declines in Covington Offshore Associated Bus Company, Nigerian Breweries, in 38 other stocks. Trading volume dropped by 38.7% to 422.68 million units from the previous sessions of 689.98 million units. Now, however, the value of traded stocks surged by 653.03%, reaching 53.96 billion naira compared to 7.17 billion. Now, we are seeing that ATP Securities and Fund Limited commented in their daily report stating that the Nigerian equity market witnessed a decrease in trading activities. Now, also, the day's trading witnesses bullish activity with more gainers. We're looking at 28 than losers of 224 across sectors. 4 indices saw gains in performance while the others 2 saw losses. Now, the banking and insurance indices had losses of 1.99% and 0.15% respectively. Now, conversely, the oil and gas and consumer goods indices rose by 0.45% and 0.3% respectively, while the industrial goods and ICT sector saw gains. Now, we have Afrinvest Research projected a positive market outlook, citing per gain opportunities as a potential driver for improved performance. So we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and wait and see how the equity market continue to perform in the Nigerian exchange market. Now, we are seeing that to boost the power sector, we are seeing that the US aid is coming in, trying to see that Nigeria, together with the federal government, taking the next step forward, making sure that we do not have some of the power problems, chaos, and then problems that we are currently facing as a country. So the United States Agencies for International Development announced the launch of the 115 billion naira program to support Nigeria's energy reform and clean energy transition, just as the federal government reiterated its commitment to stabilizing the power sector. Now, speaking at the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the USAID and the Federal Ministry of Power in Abuja, we have the USAID Mission Director in Nigeria, Ms. Melissa Jones, said that the Memorandum of Understanding will strengthen its partnership with the ministry. Now, through this Memorandum of Understanding, we intend to intensify and accelerate our partnership with the ministry, Nigeria's lead power sector policy-making institution, falls under your watch. And this is a statement to the Honorable Minister. And you have done such an incredible job, as well as laying out to all of us your 5-point plan. So now the goal is to strengthen collaboration between the USAID and the federal government of Nigeria, and to create a framework for our partnership. That is to see that there's over 150 billion naira to support Nigeria's energy reform and clean energy transition. So as the federal government is looking at other alternative for electricity, there has to be clean energy transition, and of course other energy reform aside electricity, of course, when it comes to power generation. So the USAID have seen it that it is a perfect time to partner with the federal government of Nigeria, looking at the work that the ministry is already putting in to make sure that we have sustainable energy, clean energy transition, and also power supply. So we'll have to watch and see what this partnership brings and what it will be for the future of Nigeria when it comes to power sector, energy transition, and then also power generation. Now, the CBN have dropped the Beirut Exchange operators from a $1,123 million sales. Now, the Apex Bank has commenced a sale of Forex worth $122.67 million to 46 approved dealers as part of significant step to stabilize the foreign exchange market. However, we have Bureau de Change operators saying that they were excluded in the latest tranche of Forex sales by the Central Bank of Nigeria to authorize dealers. So now the Bureau de Change is saying that yes, there have been these transactions, these sales to authorized operators. These include banks and BDCs. However, they were not included in this sale. Now, this is a complaint coming from the president of the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria. We have Aminu Gwadabe saying in an interview that they were not included in this latest transaction. A matter of fact, the BDC window has been suspended by the Central Bank of Nigeria since around March or so, he's saying. So the last time that they were funded in his, if he can recall clearly, by the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is transaction and sales of currency, was in the month of March. Well, the CBN haven't said anything different concerning this. They are letting us know that for sure there was a transaction of over 122.67 million naira, that is sales of currency, and they gave it to 46 authorized operators. Now, whether the BDCs are included in it or not, all the CBN stands is at the moment that they have done their transaction with authorized operators. However, the BDCs are saying that they were not included in this transaction, basically meaning that it made it really difficult for them to have access to foreign funds, be it the pound sterling, the euros, or the US dollar. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria haven't said any statement or agreeing or disagreeing to what the Bureau de Change operators are saying. All their stand is that they did their transaction with authorized or permitted operators, but the BDCs are saying they have been excluded since March, and transactions have been going on with the Central Bank of Nigeria, but not with them. So we'll wait and see what will be the outcome of this report, what the central bank's defense will be to this allegation from the BDCs, and what will be the future of transactions for BDCs operators with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, thank you for staying to the end of the show with me. Do keep updated with me next time. Goodbye.